welcome to Freedom Culture. We are starting a 2-week series on faith and hope, and it's going to be really great. Faith and hope is so important to our souls as Christians. So tonight we're talking about what is faith, right? Faith is something we say a lot in our Christian walk, but we don't always think about what it actually means. So that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. Let's go ahead and open up in prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. Thank you for these messages about faith and hope. And I pray, Lord, that they make sense to the kids, Lord, that it lifts up their spirits and encourages them. And we just praise you and give you glory. In Jesus' name, amen. All right, so next up, object lesson.
Welcome back for another object lesson. This week we're talking about faith, and we're talking about mountain moving faith. Jesus tells his disciples in Matthew 21 verse 21, he says, "Truly I say to you, if you have faith and do not doubt," he's telling them that even if you say to this mountain, "Be taken up and thrown into the sea," it will happen. Wow. So mountains are big, right? I mean, compared to us, mountains are really big. And I don't know about you, but I don't really have any mountains I need moved out of my way. But I do have things that come in my life that are like obstacles or issues or problems that kind of prevent me from going places or prevent me from moving forward. Sometimes it's fear, or sometimes it's another issue. And if you have those issues, sometimes you're like me, it can be a mountain in your life. It can feel like a big mountain it just feels like it's impossible that it would ever move in your life. Well, this is what Jesus is talking about. And he's telling us, if we have faith and we do not doubt, this mountain can move, okay? So let's try and see if we can make some mountains. I have a bubble solution here. Whoa. That's a pretty big mountain. Can you see that bubble? All right, well, this is gonna be my faith, okay? I have a mountain and I have a faith. Well, I'm gonna activate my faith. See, faith is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. But you have to actually activate your faith. So let's see. Whoa. Look. I'm moving the mountain with my faith. Now, can you see any connection? Whoop, popped it. Now, let's try and make another mountain. See what happens when we introduce doubt. This is our doubt rag, okay? And I have faith, I believe, I'm a believer in Jesus Christ, but sometimes I doubt. Sometimes I have unbelief that he can actually do what he says he can do. Is this mountain moving? It's not. I don't know if you can see it, but it's not going anywhere. Because I have faith, but I have doubt, right? So what happens is when doubt is introduced, it negates our faith. And what is doubt? Really, it's distrust of what God can do. It's not believing that God can do what he actually says he can do. And doubt is also like a muscle. The more we exercise it, the more power it has over us. So doubt is something we do not want to mess with. We want to have faith and we want to activate our faith. Okay, well, how do we activate our faith? Faith is something we need now. We need now to address the mountains that are in our life. Well, we do that by prayer, okay? We do that by knowing God's promises and praying those promises. So if I have a mountain in my life, the way I'm going to activate faith is I'm going to pray to God and I'm going to say, God, this is something that I'm worrying about. I have anxiety about. This is bringing me stress and I feel like it's in front of me and it doesn't feel like it's ever going to move. Well, I know that God says that he works all things together for good. So I'm going to say, Lord, I know that you're working this for good. I know that if you want this mountain to move, that it will move. And in time, it will move. And I just pray, God, that you are glorified in me dealing with this mountain problem. And that's ultimately the goal, that our faith glorifies God, that it reflects how awesome and trustworthy and beautiful God is. So I love you guys. I hope that strengthened your faith, or helped you think about activating your faith, or at least doing some some of these, whatever those are. All right, love you guys. See you next week.
Thank you, Lord, for the way that you love and the way that you come, for all that you've done and all that you'll do. My heart pours out. Thank you. You don't have to come, but you always do.
Good evening, everybody. For the next 2 weeks, we are going to be studying faith. Faith is something we talk a lot about, but it can also be a word that we use so often that we forget to stop and think about what it actually means. So as a believer, we want you to understand two things, which we're going to cover in the next few weeks. One, what is faith? Sounds simple enough, right? And two, who our hope comes from. We're going to answer these questions as well as why our faith is important and what it looks like and what it gives us. So get ready. So let's start out with faith is. Faith is confidence in what we hope for, the assurance of what we do not see. As Christians, we're called to put our hope in Jesus. We're going to talk more about that next week, but just remember that if our hope is in Jesus, then we should be confident in Jesus and what he says in his word. So this means that we should believe every word of the Bible, that we hope in every promise that he has given us, and that we believe what he says will happen, that we understand that God is the creator and that he is in control no matter what happens. We can rest in knowing our hope, and therefore our faith and confidence is in him. So faith is important because, one, we are only saved by grace through faith. Grace is the gift of the cross that we did not earn. So to receive this gift, we have to believe. We have to hope in the gift of salvation and be confident in our belief in this gift. Two, it's impossible to please God without faith. Hebrews 11:6 says, "And without faith it's impossible to please God, because anyone who comes to him must believe that he exists and that he rewards those who earnestly seek him." So it says in this verse that without trusting God or placing our faith in him, it's impossible to please him, because whoever approaches him must trust that he does exist and that he becomes a rewarder to those who seek him out and try to please him. So to please him, we have to know him. We have to seek him, just as this verse says. And we're also rewarded for seeking him. Those who have faith in God are given special blessings and are given strength in temptation from sin. Faith, number 3, faith is what causes us to obey. In Hebrews 11, we're reminded of Abraham obeying God's command to leave the land of comfort he knew with his family. He left the life he knew because he trusted God, and he decided he would obey God no matter what. So as Christians, we aren't going to be perfect. And thank God he doesn't require us to be perfect. But that's why we have been given the gift of grace. But we are to try to please God by obeying him. If we really love him, we're going to try to obey him, because we know his commands aren't to keep us from having fun, therefore our protection. So if we trust his love, we will obey him. So now we're talking about what faith looks like. Faith expresses itself through love. It all comes back to love, doesn't it? Why do we hope in Jesus as Christians? Because we believe in the great act of love that he gave. He died on the cross for us, the ultimate act of love. And what is his number one commandment to us as Christians? Well, in Mark 12:28-31, Jesus himself said that the greatest commandment was to love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your strength, and with all your mind. So with everything inside of us, we are called to live in love. And this is how we know if our faith in Jesus is really true, because we should live in his love, and not just loving him, but loving others, all others. Not just people we agree with, not just Christians, but all others. This is also a command. In fact, right after Jesus said the first greatest command, he went on to say that the second greatest command was to love your neighbor as yourself. He said there is no greater commandment than these. Matthew 21:21, and Jesus answered them, "Truly I say to you, if you have faith and do not doubt, you will not only do what has been done to the fig tree, but even if you say to this mountain, be taken up and thrown into the sea, it will happen." When we put our faith and hope in God, it really shows that we are believers of Christ. And because of that, amazing things can start to happen, just like this verse said. Faith causes us to stand confident on the word and its promises. It lets us be free from perfection because we can trust in the grace from the cross. It gives us a desire to please God and to obey Him. And if we really put our faith in God, then it will express itself in love. We will love God with all of our hearts and love people greatly no matter what. So that's it on what is faith. But don't miss next week as we talk about where our hope comes from. I love you, boys and girls, and I will see you then. Bye.
It's a challenge question. Yay!
All right, that's a wrap tonight. We talked about what is faith, and next week we're going to be talking more about the hope part of faith and hope. So it's going to be really good. Don't miss it. We'll see you there.